studio with me, Gayle Trotter, the Republican strategist, a journalist, attorney. Gayle Trotter, Gayle Trotter.com is her website. You can tweet at Gayle Trotter. And Gayle, welcome back to the program.
Great to be with you, Thom.
Nice to have you. So, first of all, as a woman, do you want Donald Trump to be the role model for the young men who are growing up in this country?
I think it's really important to clarify that Donald Trump has used intemperate rhetoric against men and women, and there are many people across the political spectrum who don't favor his approach and feel like he's made a lot of wrong moves in his business life, things that he said, things that he hasn't said. But I think the really interesting question, besides your question, is why is he in a dead heat with Hillary Clinton right now?
How about answering my question? As a woman,
right,
given the things that he has said about women, I mean, it gets a lot worse. I'm assuming that you're familiar with.
Yes, they're all known. We don't need to repeat them.
No, I mean, just this. What was it? Esquire. One of the major magazines just recently did a story where they went back and they talked to people who had been on the set of The Apprentice,
right? And
where he was constantly talking about the size of women's breasts, whether he wanted to have sex with them, with a woman in the room, right in front of her. He would turn to a man and say, "Do you want to F her?" Only he'd say the word, and they would have a conversation about what she'd be like in bed, and Trump would say, "I'll bet she's a tiger in bed," and the woman's sitting right there.
Right, and that is not appropriate language. No one would defend that language.
So what is it about the Trump presidency that would cause a rational person like yourself to say, okay, I'm willing to put up with this kind of obscene personality disorder, these are my words, not yours, but whatever you want to call it. You know, adult men don't behave this way unless they're spoiled billionaires, in my opinion. What is it that's so important? Is it the Supreme Court?
That is a great question.
Is it that you want the tax break for billionaires? That I don't think you're a billionaire that Trump is pushing.
No.
Is it that you want to dance to the tune of the fossil fuel industry? Pence said war on coal 3 times. What is it?
Right. I think it's a really important question you raised, because you need to understand, why is Hillary Clinton so disliked and mistrusted?
No, I'm asking about Donald Trump.
No, but the thing is, ultimately, this comes down to a binary choice. Now, there are people who might support Gary Johnson or Jill Stein.
But I'm asking about Donald Trump.
No, but this is why. It's a binary choice.
I'm asking about Donald Trump. Why would...
This is the answer.
Okay.
It's a binary choice. So if you look at the 3 things about Hillary Clinton, which would lead millions of Americans to support Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. Number 1, she's as flawed a candidate as he is. She's an imperfect vehicle. That's why
when has Hillary Clinton
levels of trustworthiness
had sex talk about men?
When
has Hillary Clinton denigrated people? Hillary Clinton, when she got out of college, she was down in Arkansas.
Well, the rape victim, when she was a lawyer and she had a 12-year-old rape victim that she impugned.
She was a defense attorney.
And I'm a lawyer. I understand that everyone is entitled to a defense.
You're going to attack a defense attorney?
There's certain things that you can do that are ethical. As a lawyer, there are certain things that you do that are unethical as an attorney. I'm answering your question.
Not really.
No, I am, because you're saying...
No, because I'm asking, what is it that the Republican Party is going to do or give you? And I don't mean you personally. I'm not suggesting
No,
that
the
you're some kind of
people.
shill.
The American people.
What is it that the Republican Party, your argument essentially is that he's the lesser of 2 evils.
No, it's a binary choice.
That's right.
That's
two
different.
Evils. That's binary.
No, I'm not saying he's evil. I wouldn't vote for someone I absolutely thought was evil, or partially thought was evil. But it is they're both flawed candidates. I'm not calling Hillary Clinton evil. I'm not calling him evil. I'm saying they're both flawed candidates. But when you
what is it that you want to get?
When you contrast the policy positions of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, this is what we're getting to, right? So
I hope so.
Right. When we get to, I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. So I want to be able to defend myself and my family. And millions of American women.
Gayle Trotter will not be able to defend herself or her family.
I'm speaking on behalf of millions of American women, not myself personally, because actually in D.C. we have some of the strongest restrictions on gun self-defense in the entire country.
You can get a carry permit here in D.C. You know that.
No, you can't unless you show.
You can get a concealed carry permit if you can demonstrate that you have some
need.
And
that you and they limit it.
No,
so,
and the threshold is actually fairly low. I can go in and say I'm a talk show host and I get death threats regularly, and I'll get a permit.
Most people aren't part of this global
You can say I'm a lawyer and I defend people who are controversial. I need a gun.
No, I don't defend people who are controversial. I'm not in court, so I couldn't meet that standard. I could not meet that standard. So you take Hillary Clinton,
standard, and frankly,
part of
the DC standard is not what Hillary Clinton is proposing.
Right. She wants to roll back. She doesn't even
She wants to do what
she wants
Ronald
to roll back
Reagan
DC versus Heller.
She wants,
which isn't even talking about the concealed carry permit. She wants to go back.
She has never said she wants to roll back Heller.
Oh, she absolutely.
I'll say Heller should be rolled back.
No, she has said that.
There is,
she has said that.
In my opinion, there is no personal. The Second Amendment. Okay, you've succeeded in getting me into the weeds.
Okay, well we can go higher level, but that's a reason.
Your hysteria. Your hysteria about
that's not hysteria.
We're
being very reasonable.
And that's a bad word to use with a woman. I understand. I'm sorry.
Are you saying it's my time of month?
God, please don't. Please don't. You know I'm not.
No. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing.
Honest to God, not Donald Trump.
I'm just teasing. But that's one issue. So gun rights.
So
Citizens United.
You think? No, wait, hang on just a second. You think that Donald Trump is going to make guns more available in Washington D.C.? That's
to
why
law-abiding citizens. That is one. That is one of a panoply of issues that he is talking about. A second one is free speech. So there's been an effort by Senate, and you and I have
free
spoken
speech, you're
about
talking about billionaires being able to buy politicians?
No, we've spoken about this issue before, the flag burning idea, the idea that the core part of the First Amendment is political speech. So Hillary Clinton wants the Supreme Court to overrule its decision in Citizens United or have the Congress attack the decisions in Citizens United.
So you're talking about billionaires being able to own politicians.
No, it's not billionaires.
That's not free speech.
It's not billionaires.
That's not free speech.
The people who were behind the Citizens United movie, which is the Hillary movie. It criticized Hillary. She wants to outlaw criticism of Hillary Clinton.
In my hand is $400. Is this speech?
I don't follow what you're saying. Is flag burning speech? It's flag burning speech. That's not money.
Flag burning is a behavior. Right, and behaviors. What we have said with regard to behaviors around money, which is fungible. You can use money for a billion different things.
Right.
Behaviors around money from 1787 until 2010, or actually until what year was Buckley? 1976.
Yes.
Until 1976.
Yes. Buckley v. Vallejo.
Versus Vallejo. Yes. Up until the Buckley case. Giving money to politicians, buying public influence was considered a behavior that could be regulated. And after the Nixon,
I wouldn't talk about Hillary Clinton with buying public figures. That's not a good place to go with Hillary Clinton.
Nice snark, but nonsense. After the Republican crimes of Richard Nixon, on a bipartisan basis,
those are Nixon
Congress
crimes,
got together.
Not Republican crimes.
Well, there were a lot of Republicans
you want to talk about
indicted for those crimes.
Too. But not the entire Republican Party.
Well, the Republican Party is doing it now. It's doing it right now. You get people like Jim Inhofe saying, oh, yeah, there's no global warming, while he's taking $1 million from the fossil fuel industry. Tell me there's not an association.
There are very reasonable people who, this is getting a little bit off course, but President Obama had the big discussion about climate change at the White House this week, and he had somebody get up there and say, this is about empirical truth, this is about believing in climate change. Yes, and when you hear that, anybody who's studied the scientific method would understand there's truth in science is challenging. It's the ability to have reproducible results. So for him to get up there,
you're going to quote the ExxonMobil tobacco strategy of "there's still doubt, we don't know."
I have written extensively about that. When you look at the 20 attorneys general who have decided
the
to
Republican
abuse,
attorneys general.
No, the Democratic one.
I should have let you finish your sentence. I don't know where you're going.
The lawsuit where they're using an abuse of power to go after private companies and private organizations and individuals who are climate change deniers and saying that they're going to use the power of the state to squelch political debate.
Yes, we did this with tobacco. When the asbestos industry was aggressively working to kill my father, which they did. The asbestos industry in 1935 knew that asbestos caused mesothelioma, which is what my dad died of. They covered that up. They funded a massive effort to lie to the American public about that. And it wasn't until, like the 1980s that they came clean about this. And, this is why, Dick Cheney had Halliburton buy Dresser Industries. It took him down because he thought the government was going to bail them out. Had he not, gotten his wars, Halliburton would be broke. The tobacco industry, the same thing. The tobacco industry invented this entity called the Tea Party, right? And the whole point of the Tea Party, it was the tobacco. It's true.
Thom,
the whole point of the Tea Party was to create doubt about tobacco, and now the fossil fuel industry and Gayle Trotter are doing the same thing around climate change. It is
Can I interject
criminal.
one thing?
You may say anything you wish.
I just think I understand the passion behind this, especially given your personal experiences of loss. But I think it is unfair.
I guarantee you, we both know people who have been killed by these industries lying to us.
But it's unfair to take the people who are part of the Tea Party movement and ascribe it to an organization that is doing.
You're absolutely right. There's a lot of well-intentioned suckers out there who have bought into this sales pitch.
Suckers?
Because
the Tea Party. I'm not part of the Tea Party, but the Tea Party is about the Constitution. For Prosperity, funded by the Koch brothers, who inherited their money from Daddy in the oil industry, and all these other oil billionaires and ExxonMobil, when they start funding campaigns to cause doubt about climate science, it's not only profitable for them, and it's destructive for the world. And I see it the other way.
Well, you don't believe in the science.
I am not a scientist. I am not a scientist, so I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you about the science. But I wish you would go. I'm gonna send you this piece that I wrote.
I'm not a scientist either, but I know that if I get an infection, I want antibiotics.
Right.
Would you?
Oh, clearly,
Okay, so you believe in science.
Doctors.
You trust science.
Yes,
then
but
why not
saying
trust
that you can't doubt science is in itself illogical.
Okay, Gayle, we're out of time, but Gayle Trotter, Republican strategist, attorney, journalist, Gayle Trotter, WYLE.com. Hang on just a second.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And you can tweet her at Gayle Trotter also. Gayle, thank you.
Great to be with you.
Great to have you. We'll be back.